Hi, and welcome back to the studio of Art by Wendy with Wendy Mould. I'm really excited today to talk to you about something new or different to do with your sketchbook. Lots of times you don't feel totally ready to draw something in your sketchbook, or maybe it's in the evening and you're not outdoor sketching, which is something I like to do a lot of, is outdoor sketching. And so what I do is I prep some of my pages ahead of time. This little page combination here I just love. I loved how it turned out. But notice that there are some different things happening here. My design that I saw on the right hand, and it goes across to the bottom, I put on earlier on, weeks before I ever did this page. This was part of my prepping. Then, when we were on our trip and I opened up to this page, it just seemed like it was wonderful to have an opportunity to put my picture on the left, and then do my writing on the right, which is something I like to do. I like to journal a little bit when I travel and do outdoor sketching in my sketchbook. So it was kind of an exciting thing to do. Of course, the colors were painted at the same time. I do tend to just do outline drawings and leave the coloring or painting, whatever, when I actually finish the page. This is another exciting page that I really enjoyed. And this is in one of my travel sketchbooks. Look at that little butterfly. It just worked in really nicely. And the little squiggles again on the side. I like to doodle, and they just work into with my roses. Again, the colors match, as you can see, because I painted those on the same time as I did the flowers. So, doodle art is not the only way you can prep your pages. It's one of my favorite ways. But let me show you another way that can create some very interesting pictures from travels or just pictures that you want to draw. This page here I prepared ahead of time by putting my phthalo blue and burnt sienna in the paper. And I just floated those two colors, let them do their thing, and no, I did not know what I was going to put on the page later. The only thing I was aware of is that the bottom of the page was the bottom of the book. I always find it kind of fun and interesting to see what happens when I do this type of preparation ahead of time. I just go ahead and draw my picture onto the colors. And look how neat they come out. It's sort of an interesting kind of atmosphere that's created. It almost looks like it's late in the evening, the sun is still dark, almost getting into darkness, twilighty kind of thing. It's a mood and atmosphere that I never would have been able to create if I had tried. But it was sure fun to see it come to life. So doing this kind of prepping can give you some pretty interesting new things. Now there's other ways to prep. You can just do a few lines as I've done here and add a little sticker or a collage, something like that. This little shape actually is fun. At the top, you can do a picture, and at the bottom, maybe do some writing, or you can incorporate the whole thing and just have your picture grow around the shape. It's kind of fun to see what happens. Another example is this type of page. Again, I use my doodle art. And this could be the page that I do my writing on again, journaling, or I could do a picture there. It doesn't really matter. If I wanted to, and I like sometimes to do the full page. And so here I could do my painting here and do my writing there. And I could even add a few more doodles along the bottom once I got going. For materials for prepping your page, I tend to use permanent ink pens. That way, I'm not restricted to what's going to happen and what medium I'm going to put on top. It can be wet or dry. Have a look at this next type of page. You've heard of those story games that you can play with a group, or one person says the first line or the introduction, and the next person carries on with the story, and after a few sentences, someone else takes over. Well, this is kind of like one of these story pages. And this, again, I have used doodle art, but you could use any kind of thing. And I have some little interesting shapes here. And this page, whenever I come to it, I often just stop and I'll add a few more lines or a few more shapes to it. And it grows over time. And it's kind of a mystery as to what it's going to be. So it's kind of a fun thing to do. So let's take a look at how you might prepare your journal. In my case, I like to work with, as I said, permanent ink pens. And they can be black or colored. Now, for me, I am going to use my book to put watercolors in. And so I need a medium that can handle that water. I don't want my little prepping pages to be smeared because I'm using something wet. It also frees me up to use dry mediums as well. And so it's just something to think about. Collage materials can also be used. And again, they're usually should be protected a little bit so they won't get wrecked if you're going to be using watercolor with them. In terms of themes or in terms of what to put on the sides, as I mentioned before, doodle art is fun to do. In this particular case, this is one of my travel journals that I'll be using this summer for some of my outdoor trips. And I'll be going kayaking this summer up into the interior of British Columbia. And so I decided that I would use just things I would see along the way. So I'm going to put some herons and some ducks and decorate the corners of some of the pages with the birds and animals that we'll probably see on some of our trips. Another thing that I thought would be fun to do would be some of the symbols of things that you would see or that are common in that area. For example, we're going to be kayaking, so I decided to do a little kayaking page, and I've got some kayak symbols that I was putting on the page and just having fun with it. And that's what it's all about, is having fun and preparing a few surprises for you. Now, I wouldn't do every single page. It's kind of neat to have some blank pages and just flip through and then have that little surprise. Oh, this is a page that's going to have this on it. And, it's little treats for yourself to keep you interested and just to make it a little more fun. While you're busy drawing some of those little cartoons or doodles on your pages, don't forget some words. Sometimes it's nice to open a page and have one of your favorite thoughts or one of your favorite phrases. This is a good place to put them too. So really, all this is turning your sketchbook into a joyful, happy place for you, with lots of little surprises buried in its pages. Stretch your imagination as you add these little gems to the pages. I guarantee when you are out sketching and open up your book to a prep page, it will add a bit of sparkle to your day. Wendy teaches outdoor sketching classes in the summer, and she teaches in her studio and online throughout the year. Wendy produces original work in pencil and in watercolor. She completes commission work, particularly pet portraits, and produces cards and prints from some of her work.